Today we're going to be making a little ball and hoop game. This is a great little game, very simple, very easy, and can provide hours of entertainment. It's sort of essentially based upon the traditional ball and cup. I just call it the ball and hoop because there is no cup there. We don't need to be dead accurate, it's just more or less down the center of the piece of wood. Draw a line, and again, oh, this is 50mm wide, my ruler is 25mm wide, so that's an easy one to work out. These are far more specialist bits. You may or may not have them, but you really should, or they should be used in a pillar drill. They shouldn't really be used in hand drills like this unless you have some experience or you know exactly what can happen if things go wrong. We don't want to drill right near the end of the piece of wood. Just come back because it's very easy to split the wood. Do note that I'm putting the handle of the G-clamp beneath rather than on top. I don't want the handle to get in the way of the drill up here, so I can hit my hand or it can interfere with the drill quite easily. Place upon the centre where you want to drill, line everything up vertically. My hand goes on top of the drill to press down. There is no lead screw to pull into the work. And start off slowly. And you can see here I've got this at a slight tilt, so I'm only cutting part of the wood. So that tells me I'm not quite vertical. So I'll just twist the drill a little bit, push down. And just slow up when I'm coming to the bottom. Or am I through? I'm not quite sure. I'll just do a little bit more. I think I'm through. This is probably the most appropriate bit to use. It's called a flat bit. They're really cheap, only a few quid to buy. And on this one, this is all a little bit broken here, so we'll drill the hole here and we'll use a 25mm bit here to drill the hole. To drill the hole, we need to clamp it in the vise. Make sure it's in the chuck firmly. Centre it where you want it and just eyeball that the drill bit is straight, going vertically through the piece of wood. Start off slowly. When you get through to the other side of the piece of wood, they're likely just to suddenly drop through. Just slow up when you're getting through to the other side, so you're not pushing down hard. And this is what happens when we don't support the piece of wood on the other side. It just pulls out like this. And turning over to the centre line, how long do we want to cut it? Where do we want to cut from? Let's cut down from there and down from there. Draw a line. You can measure everything out if you wish. I just tend to go by placing the ruler on the piece of work and adjusting it. We're only drawing lines, we're not cutting at the moment, so that's fine. So we'll want to cut across there. The whole piece of wood is cut across there. We cut down this line and this line here, so this is the handle. Because we're drilling a little hole in here, we do want a reasonable amount of wood at the top. There's not much wood here, it's likely to split here. This is where it's quite, well, this bit here can be quite fragile. So we might as well drill the little hole now in there first. And this piece of wood is what, probably about 19mm thick. And the thickness doesn't matter, you can drill holes through thicker bits of wood. Let's drill all the way through. Oh, that's I drilled into the block down there. Okay, that's a nice hole. Align the wood so this line that we're cutting, the cutting line, is actually at vertical or at right angles to the bench and vise. Coming at the corner, it may be a little bit tricky to start off. Coming at the corner and cut down, and we're just cutting straight down. That's great. And now let's swing it over to the other side. That's more or less vertical, that's good. And come in. Right, I was just about to saw this off across like that. I'm used to saws, I use saws all the time. I would recommend you turning it around so that it's vertical. Saw that bit off. What we're going to do is just to cut this down the middle. So we're going to have two out of this one piece. Again, you may want to draw a line along it. A simple trick is to hold the pencil in your hand like this and using your fingers as a guide, just pull along like that, and that gives you enough of a guideline in the centre. It's just slightly off the centre, so if I draw cut on that side of the line, leaving the line visible, it will be cut in half. So I said this is just a guideline, we don't need to be exact. And to start off on a sharp corner like that, lower the saw down so it's at an acute angle to the grain, and again just push forward really gently. I'm just floating the saw over the wood, push forward gently, and now I can lift the saw up and saw throughout the length of the wood. I can't saw all the way down because the vise will just squeeze a piece of wood into the saw and it'll get stuck. But anyway, I don't want to cut all the way through. I'll just cut off at the end of the handle. I'm starting off with a piece of wood that is longer than I need. And so we've got two. Out of that one piece of wood, we've got two. So we can make it nice and round, like so. The only way we're going to get it rounded is by cutting a straight line and then taking the corner off in a straight line and again a corner off in a straight line. So we'll set it up in the vise. Readjust so we're cutting vertically down each time. Readjust. And all the way through. Okay, you can see that this is almost round now. There's not a lot of tidying up we need to do. We can take the rasp and just smooth round. Same If you don't have a rasp, you can use a hand sander. We can use the loose sandpaper just to tidy up that edge a little bit more. So the edges are nice and smooth now. The corners are still sharp. We can tidy this saw cut up a little bit by taking 120 or 80 grit sandpaper and just rubbing over like this. Just go along the grain, don't go across the grain. The sandpaper will give a better finish if you go along the grain. And by using a loose piece of sandpaper, you sort of automatically, when you're near the edge, you just go over the edge and the edge gets rounded off a bit. And then we can come back and round the edges off like this. And do the other side. We just want to get rid of all the sharp edges. You can put it on the table and work off like that. So always come off the flat face round the end. Find the pith. The pith is the very centre of the wood. It's the first growth ring and it's usually quite soft, and put the drill in there and twist it round. Yeah, that's through. Okay, what we can do is to use the rasp or the sandpaper just to round the edges as well. It depends how much time you want to put into this. Right. Put it back on the drill. Don't have the drill sticking all the way through, and then you can use the rasp. As you can see, I'm holding the handle of the palm drill and just pushing down and around like this. And sand it until you're happy with it. And I would, it's quite nice if you finish off with a 120 grit. That's it. Okay, so we've just made our little bead. Now we need to put everything together. We need to tie one end onto the handle, poke the string through, and do a reef knot. Most of you will probably do a granny knot. I'm not going to go into the knots here and now, but there are plenty of videos on the internet about knots. Yes, that's a reef knot. And so that won't slip. When I pull it, it won't slip. So we need to push it through. And I'm probably doing a granny knot here. So yes, that was a granny knot, so I'll do another loop and another loop, and that shouldn't ever come off again. Okay, and pull it tight at the end. The best way to cut the string is to put it on your bench or block of wood like so, and just push down and then pull the end of the string up. Right, okay, we are done. And I've got a feeling oh, this is massively long. I'm going to whack myself over the head with this one. If the piece of string is too long, don't worry, just cut it, just make it shorter, cut it off and make it short. Yay! See, I can do it.